There are places where the road doesn't just lead somewhere. It ends. Today, I'm following it all the way to the southern edge of El Salvador, to La Unión, where pavement gives way to water and the land quietly surrenders to the sea. La Unión isn't polished. It isn't curated for visitors. It's a working port city, a threshold between countries, cultures, and centuries. Beyond it lies the Gulf of Fonseca, a volcanic expanse shaped by fire beneath the water and history above it. 3 nations meet here. Empires passed through. Pirates hid their fortunes. And long before any of that, indigenous peoples lived by the rhythms of land and sea. In this video, I'm heading to the end of El Salvador, not just geographically, but historically and emotionally. From quiet streets and everyday life to open water filled with legends, this is a place where expectations unravel and stories begin. Let's see what's waiting at the edge. Today, I'm heading toward the southern edge of El Salvador, to La Unión. I've spent a lot of time talking about roads and driving, and it's important to be fair in that conversation. This drive deserves its praise. The road to La Unión is excellent. For much of the journey, I'm traveling along the famed Panamericana highway, the longest road network in the world, stretching nearly 19,000 miles from Alaska to Argentina, linking North, Central, and South America into a single ribbon of pavement. Here, the drive is smooth and unhurried. Trees line the highway, the scenery opens wide, and when the road is kind enough to allow it, you're given rare moments to look beyond the asphalt and truly take in just how beautiful this country is.
Hola, bienvenidos a La Unión, which looks like La Union, but don't you dare say that. You know how every tourist, every YouTuber is always like, I want to go someplace where there are no tourists. I want to be someplace where they don't speak English. Well, I'm here to tell you that you have romanticized that idea, but you don't actually want it, because I'm living it. And there's not a whole lot to do here. There's El Espíritu de la Montaña, and then there's the Gulf of Fonseca.
I'll explore the Gulf of Fonseca later, but before I set out, I want to show you the quiet, charming neighborhood and the apartment where I'm staying. The studio is attached to my host's home, arranged like a cozy in-law suite. It's reached through a gated carport that leads directly to the door. Inside, the lighting leaves a lot to be desired, but I'll make it work. The space itself is simple and functional. A sofa, kitchenette, and bed all share one open room, creating an easy, lived-in feel. The microwave and fridge were a nice touch, very thoughtful. Of course, I had absolutely no use for the coffee maker. There's also a television I will not be turning on even once. But the Wi-Fi, lightning fast. That I will be using extensively. Priorities. There's an ensuite bathroom, no hot water, but that's part of the El Salvador experience. Out the back, a second door opens into a small garden filled with beautiful plants and a shared seating area. A peaceful corner to pause before heading out to the water. All in all, I had a pleasant stay, and I'll link to the listing in the video description.
Would you visit La Unión? Let me know in the comments, and please click the like button. It helps more than you know.
I was going to try to hide it, but it is painfully obvious in my voice. I cannot breathe. El Salvador's lush, beautiful greenery has officially won the battle against my allergies. So, for the sake of your ears and my dignity, I'll be voicing over the rest of this video instead of subjecting you to my very stuffed, very nasal, in-person commentary. La Unión is El Salvador's final outpost before the sea. Once known as Puerto San Carlos, named for a Spanish monarch, it was renamed La Unión in 1824, the year El Salvador claimed its independence from Spain. Today, it stands as the largest city in its namesake department, home to roughly 34,000 people, a coastal crossroads where history meets the horizon. On account of feeling under the weather, I'm exploring La Unión by vehicle instead of walking the streets. I wouldn't describe this city as picturesque so much as extremely functional. It's busy. It's buzzing. The locals clearly have places to be and things to do. As a tourist, not so much. My first mission was simple. Find a cafe. Easy, right? Wrong. Every cafe listed on Google Maps wasn't just closed for the day. It had permanently exited the chat. Gone. Vanished. A historical record of caffeine dreams. Food became my next challenge. I did locate a Chinese restaurant serving tofu, a reunion I did not expect to feel so emotional about. I've missed tofu since being in El Salvador. Deeply. Spiritually. For additional comfort, I retreated to an American hotel chain restaurant offering Olive Garden-level Italian food and a few vegan options. The culinary equivalent of a warm, garlicky hug. Driving here adds a fun bonus level. The roads are excellent, as in no potholes or rivers, but you knew there was a but. There are four-way intersections without stop signs, one-way streets that are not marked as one-way, two-way streets that abruptly decide they're one-way now, and moments where you just accept that the road is making the rules. Driving here is not impossible. It's just character building. Beyond this coastal town, the land simply ends. There is no further south to travel in El Salvador without taking to the water. I booked a private tour with the company I will not name because the experience ultimately fell short of recommendation. I reported the matter to my credit card company, which conducted an investigation and ultimately sided with me, issuing a full refund. I would be lying if I said the experience did not cast a small shadow over my time in La Unión. Still, I'm here, and I intend to make the most of what lies ahead. Once you board the boat, The view opens to the vast Gulf of Fonseca, a shimmering stretch of Pacific Ocean that spans over 1,200 square miles, just a little smaller than the entire state of Rhode Island. But this isn't just any gulf. This is the Ring of Fire, even in water. The Gulf of Fonseca is a volcanic archipelago, scattered with islands and rimmed by volcanoes that rise from the shores of El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. It is a place both beautiful and dangerous, shaped by fire and time. From the water, the route is meant to reveal a sweeping panorama. The port of La Unión, the Calvo tuna factory, Punta Chicarin, as well as Conchagua volcano, crowned by El Espíritu de la Montaña. There's also a constellation of 34 islands, including Conchagüita, Martín Pérez, Mienguera, and Zacatillo, with the distant shores of Honduras and Nicaragua completing the horizon. In truth, I am having a terrible experience on this tour. Even so, the Gulf of Fonseca itself is undeniably beautiful, vast, luminous, and deeply compelling. Choose your tour operator carefully, but without hesitation, make the journey. And you know me, I would never miss an opportunity to tell a story. The refund from this misguided tour found new purpose, flowing directly into the animation that brings this folklore to life, aided, in part, by the deeply appreciated Will, Pelota, and Laura. Your generous support makes these dreams a reality. As always, thank you to Timeless Stories of El Salvador for the inspiration. Long before the Spanish ever laid eyes on this territory, the Gulf was home to the Linca people, who lived from the land and revered the spirits of earth and sea. Then came the Europeans. In 1522, Spanish explorers reached these waters and claimed them in the name of their empire. The European man who discovered the Gulf named it for his archbishop, Juan Rodriguez de Fonseca. And with that, the Spanish staked their claim. But not all men bowed to crowns. Enter Sir Francis Drake, England's most infamous pirate, or privateer, depending on who was writing the history. To him, stealing from the Spanish wasn't just a profession. It was a crusade. By the late 1500s, Drake was the undisputed master of the Pacific Seas. In 1579, he captured a Spanish galleon loaded with gold, silver, and jewels. What today would amount to over $9 million in treasure. With the Spanish Navy hunting him relentlessly, and the treasure weighing down his ship and slowing his speed, Drake knew he needed a fallback plan. So, where did he take it? To the Gulf of Fonseca, of course. He sailed into the archipelago and made for one of the islands. There, hidden among its rocky coves and jungle-covered hills, he found the perfect hiding place. A cave, visible only at certain times of day, when the light hit just right. He buried part of his treasure inside, sealed its mouth, and vanished back into the sea. Drake returned to England, where Queen Elizabeth publicly denounced him, but privately honored him. Then, his epic life took a dramatic turn. He never went back for the treasure. If the legend is to be believed, it's still here, waiting, undisturbed beneath layers of earth and myth. Some say that if you stand in the right light, the entrance to the cave will reveal itself, but only for a moment. Then, like Drake himself, it disappears into history. After all, the sea keeps its secrets well. And, just like that, I reached the end of the road. La Unión doesn't offer a dramatic farewell. There's no grand monument at the edge of the country. No sign announcing that you've reached the end. The land simply stops, and the water takes over. Beyond this point, everything moves by boat, by tide, by memory. This journey didn't unfold the way I expected, or even the way I'd hoped. La Unión isn't here to entertain you. It exists for itself, for the people who live and work here, for the ships that come and go, for the stories that drift just beneath the surface, whether anyone is listening or not. Out on the Gulf of Fonseca, surrounded by volcanoes, islands, and 3 converging nations, it becomes clear how small borders really are. Fire shaped this place. Water claimed it. History passed through, took what it could, and left whispers behind of Linka villages, Spanish conquest, hidden treasure, and lives lived far from the spotlight. Not every destination is polished. Not every journey delivers what was promised. But sometimes what you find instead is perspective. At the edge of El Salvador, I didn't find spectacle. I found stillness. I found stories. And I found the quiet reminder that some places don't need to impress you. They just need to exist. Stay curious, be inspired, find freedom, wander elsewhere. I'll see you in the next one.